Welcome to Blooming Wildwood Homestead. I am really excited to share with you the Pantry Challenge, and I would love to encourage you to participate this year, whether you've done it before or if you're brand new. It can be very beneficial for all of those involved. This Pantry Challenge was started by Jessica over at Three Rivers Homestead, and I will link to her video down below where she shares a little bit about some of the history of the Pantry Challenge and also shares with you some of her own rules and kind of guidelines for how she's going through the Pantry Challenge this year. The Pantry Challenge runs from the 1st of January through the end of February, and you can decide kind of where you fall within that. If you want to challenge yourself to the full 2 months, or maybe if this is your first time doing a Pantry Challenge, maybe you want to try and just do 1 week, or maybe you want to try for 1 month. You can decide how long you want to give it a try for, but I would encourage you to give it a try and participate at least part of the time. One of the questions that comes up involves what are the rules for the Pantry Challenge, and that's one of the beauties of this particular challenge. Everyone's participating at the same time, and so you'll be able to see lots of different recipes, lots of different ideas on things that people are doing, but you get to set up the parameters that work for you. So if something is really important to you and you still want to include that in your diet, or if you feel like you need a particular thing in order to make the Pantry Challenge work, you can go ahead and kind of modify as necessary. Some people have certain dietary needs that they have to modify just a little bit, or maybe certain things coming up in your family that you might have to modify for. And so if that's you, you can kind of set up those parameters as you want to. For me, I don't have dairy readily available here on the farm, and so that's something that I want to allow to be able to purchase periodically. It's nice to have yogurt, it's nice to have some milk kind of throughout the time, and so that's something that I will allow myself to still purchase. I want to share with you some of the benefits of participating in a Pantry Challenge. Even if you're setting up some of your parameters and boundaries yourself, there are still many things that can be gained by participating in this Pantry Challenge. The first reason why I want to participate is that it helps me to refocus. I don't know about you, but during the holiday season, it's easy to kind of get off track. Sometimes we indulge in different foods that we wouldn't typically be eating. There's definitely a lot more sugar available and a lot of sweets and things that we're eating during that time. And so sometimes we kind of turn to convenience items or turn to some of the more extravagant kinds of foods that you might have to go and purchase from the store in order to kind of celebrate or go through that holiday season. And so it's nice coming into January to take some time to just refocus and reestablish some of that intentional cooking from scratch that I try to do on a regular basis, but it's nice to just have that time to kind of refocus and really be intentional with the meals that I'm creating in order to use up some of the items that have been canned or frozen, and I want to make sure that I'm using what I've preserved. So it's nice to have that intentional focus and re-establish some of those good habits that I was trying to have prior to the holiday season. The second reason to participate in a Pantry Challenge is that you can redirect some of those grocery funds in a different way. So I don't want to say that you're going to completely eliminate your grocery spending, but you can definitely readjust and reallocate that in a different way. So if you choose not to purchase anything during the Pantry Challenge, then you can obviously use that fund for something else. Perhaps you want to reallocate some of that money into your garden that you're hoping to do this year. Maybe, I know some people take the money that they save and they put that into purchasing local beef or pork. So maybe that's something that you might want to use some of those funds for. Another thing that I kind of like about redirecting some of those funds, if you are not focused on needing to purchase everything for meals for that particular week, you can really utilize this time to shop sales, or if you see something that is a good bargain that you want to add to your pantry, it's a great time to buy a couple of extra of that particular item in order to help build up your pantry. So maybe as you're going throughout the pantry challenge, you find that you're running kind of low on something, and you find an item that you wish that you had in your pantry. This might be a time to use some of the funds that you've saved from your grocery bill and put that into restocking the pantry in that way. Other people have taken the money that they've saved during this time and been able to put that into maybe heating costs. I know it's the time of year where sometimes our heating costs can be elevated. We definitely have higher electricity bills just because we're using the lights with the shorter days. And so maybe you're wanting to reallocate some of those funds in that direction as well. So I don't want to say that there's zero spending on, I know some people, again, that's their kind of their parameter that they put up. They say I'm absolutely not buying anything from the grocery store. And I can see how that can be really helpful. But I think in the time that we are living in right now with food inflation and with everything going on, that it's definitely beneficial to shop sales. But I don't want to say that I'm not going to be restocking the pantry at all during this time, because I think that we want to continue building our pantry, but I do think we want to cycle through some of the older items that need to be used. So that brings me to the third reason why you might want to join the pantry challenge, and that is to go through that rotation process. So if you've been adding things to your pantry, it is likely that you have some items that are to that point where they really need to be used up. And I really enjoy how the pantry challenge kind of encourages me to rotate through some of those things, items that are close to expiration or I've had for quite a while. I can go ahead and utilize those items in my meals, and it just helps to keep things fresh and rotated through. When you have food that's been preserved from the garden, it also helps you to use up some of your older items in order to make room for the new items that you'll be preserving during the course of the new growing season. And so food rotation is a great reason to participate in the pantry challenge. The fourth reason to participate in the pantry challenge, I sort of touched on in point number 2, but this really does help you to find some of the gaps in your pantry. As you are trying to utilize eating from your pantry, you might notice that you're missing some particular spices, or maybe you notice that you didn't have as much of something as you had thought. And so it's something you want to put on the list for restocking and replenishing. And so it really does help you to find some of those gaps. Maybe you find that you wish you had canned a particular item that you don't have, and so it's something that you want to put on your list of things to can this year. And so those can be great ways to start looking for the gaps and work on making a plan to fill in those gaps throughout the course of the challenge. And the fifth reason to participate in the pantry challenge is that it does aid you in garden planning. So as I already said, you might find some gaps, but this is definitely going to help you to see if there's something that you should have canned that you didn't. It's going to help you to see which items you are canning that maybe you just don't reach for on a regular basis. I know I used to enjoy trying out some new recipes that were maybe just a little more, they weren't something that I was regularly using. If you find that you have something like that and you're trying to really intentionally use that up right now, that's great, but it might be something that you decide, you know, I really don't need to can that next year because I wouldn't reach for that, and I wouldn't use that on a regular basis. Maybe it's something where you could just do one batch and give it away as a gift, but it's not something that you want to stock your pantry with because it's not an item that you're reaching for on a regular basis. You might also find that you don't have enough of something. So if you've been around the channel for a while, you know I absolutely love salsa, and it is something that I definitely can a lot of in the summertime. And so, you know, that's an area where if I find that it's getting a little bit low, I might say, oh, I need to have more of that in the pantry because it's something that I use on a regular basis. So any of these kinds of things can help you in your garden planning. If you know you've used a lot of tomato products, particularly during the couple of months that you're focused on this, you might say, okay, I need to plant more tomatoes so that I can and preserve more of those tomato products. If you find that you have an excessive amount of tomato products still left, even after the challenge, then you might not need to plant as many tomatoes this year because maybe you already have enough preserved and you don't need to go crazy on that particular item for the upcoming year. So really use this time to think about the balance of your pantry. Do you have standalone vegetables that you can use as a side dish? Is that something you need to work on incorporating more of? Kind of where are things when it comes to your pantry, and that will really help you in your garden planning. And as a bonus, it's always more fun to do things with others, and so participating in the pantry challenge gives you the opportunity to see what kinds of things other people are cooking. I've enjoyed seeing what items other people have preserved and how they're using those items. Sometimes I can just get so stuck in a rut and I just want some fresh creativity, and I love that about the new year. It gives us an opportunity to kind of have some of that creativity and see what other people are doing as well. It might give you some new inspiration of things that you can try, and that's just a fun way to kick off the year and also use up the items that you have. So again, you can find that with hashtag Three Rivers Challenge, and you can see what other people are doing who have been participating. Now, in the past, I have shared some of the meals that I've done. I've also shared just different tips on things that might be helpful with your pantry. Let me know in the comments below, what are some things that you would really like to see? Do you prefer seeing tips on organizing a pantry? Do you prefer seeing meals? Do you want a combination of both? Do you like the videos to be separate? Do you like a one meal video, or do you prefer everything that is eaten in a week? What are some of the preferences? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to know what kinds of things you're looking for. And also let me know if you're planning to participate in this pantry challenge as well. The more the merrier. I think it will be a fun 2 months coming up. I'm really looking forward to it. So I hope to see you along the way. Until next time, bye everyone.